Hello, everyone. My name is Chatty, and today I'm here with segfault. Would you like to introduce yourself, segfault?
Hey, how's it going? I'm segfault. I co-own V3rmillion, which is probably the site that you're listening. Well, I guess you're using YouTube, aren't you? But you get my point.
Yeah. All right, and I have a few questions for you today, mainly about things regarding Pride Month. Let's just hop into this. For my first question, how was the Pride Month received the first time on V3rmillion? Was it met with hate? Did people acknowledge and support it?
Yeah, no, it's been interesting to see the differences in responses this year as opposed to last year, because obviously last year was the first time we really acknowledged it and did something, and that was met with quite a lot of hate. Not entirely, of course, but there was a quite a large amount of backlash initially, and that's to be expected. It's not amazing, but it is what it is, and that's kind of what we're trying to change, I guess. And I think that this year it's been better. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've seen it yourself. There's still been some pretty vile threads, but I think it's been more contained, and I think people are getting a. Hopefully, I mean, I like to think that people are getting a better understanding of things and being more, at least more respectful and more understanding as a whole.
Yeah. For my next question here, how do you feel about this straight pride going around in lounge? Do you think it's hate against Pride Month in a sense?
That's a good question. I don't really know entirely what to think about it. I mean, of course, I take no issues with people being prideful of any aspect of who they are and how they identify. Or it's just that to me, it feels like it's a contrarian thing. Like it's something that people are doing as a way to say, not to explicitly say that I don't support you, but to oppose in the only way that they see is they can work with, like an angle that they can take almost. And obviously, obviously there's no issue with people taking pride, but in other things. But Pride Month is about one specific issue, and that's all that. I mean, really isn't saying that there aren't other issues. We're just focusing on one thing at the moment, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. For my next question here, how do you feel about the homophobic threads in Lounge? Do you think about them at all? I thought personally they would immediately be deleted and the users warned. However, some threads are still up. Is there a limit by chance to what can be considered homophobic and what cannot?
There is a limit. I mean, a lot of people would probably would think otherwise of us, but there is a limit to how much we can limit people's, or we want to limit people's ability to express their opinions. If the things that people are saying aren't outright offensive or directed hatefully at people, then I don't have an issue leaving it on the site and letting people discuss, because I feel like, at least so far this month, the discussion has been reasonably educated. And I think that in the worst of cases, when there's threads that are inappropriate or edging on offensive is what I mean to say, I think that generally the poster just ends up making a fool out of themselves, and I'm happy for them to be criticized respectfully with the same free speech that I'm giving them by not deleting their thread.
Yeah. Do you think with time, a lot of members in the community will be more respectable when talking about pride in the LGBTQ community? It seemed like a good notion to have the themes for an idea to be optional, since some people obviously show disdain for having things like these themes and stuff put onto them, for say.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only so your question was whether or not I think people will continue to get better about it. I think the answer to that is yes, because we've seen, at least in my opinion, I've seen that things have gotten better, and not just from one Pride Month to the next, but throughout the year. I think I've seen a much better perspective, or at least many more people defending the perspective behind Pride and Pride Month and queer people.
Yeah, and just a personal question, actually. I wanted to know myself, because obviously I am a new user. Was the first Pride Month that was, like when V3rmillion first initially supported this, how much hate exactly came from it? Like, was it as bad as this year, or was it worse? Or
Yeah, I think it was worse than this year has been. I'm not saying it was unbearable or uncontrollable or anything like that, but I think the initial backlash, because it was really the first thing that Verm did to say, like, the things that are being said about queer people are completely unacceptable. It was our first the first point where we stepped out and said, look, this isn't okay. We support queer people. And so I think that initial conflict was the most severe that it will ever be. And yeah, I think it's getting better slowly. Progress is slow, admittedly, but I think it is progress.
And for my last question here, this one actually, it's brief, but it's out there. Recently, there was a thread that was trying to state that V3rmillion was only supporting Pride Month for monetary value. I want to know what your take is on this.
I think that's a good example of a thread I left up because, I mean, firstly, it wasn't breaking any rules and I wouldn't have removed it anyway, but also it was just an initial poster making a fool out of himself, in my opinion. And I don't really enjoy, criticizing my users, but I think it was quite silly. Obviously, there's no monetary gain that we're getting from supporting Pride Month or for making an award where we donate all the money to charity. All we see in terms of marketing is either people who agree with us will stand by us, and people who disagree with us will leave or will not spend their money here or will do something else. But I don't think that if we're getting positive attention because we're supporting Pride, I think that's the only way that can lead into a claim that there's monetary gain is because there's more people who are happy about the site and what we're doing, and maybe they buy VIP or whatever, but that's not the motive. That's just the nature of people.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for being here for this interview. It kind of was an honor to interview you, segfault. I'm not going to lie, I'm biggest fan. Was there anything else you wanted to say to the people of V3rmillion?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, regardless of where your political opinions lie or how you feel about what the site's done for Pride Month, I think just all that we ask of you, regardless of how you feel, is that you are respectful to people on the site and that you treat people with dignity and fairness, and you're not hypocritical of everything, but rather you respect people's decisions and you respect people's own opinions, and in doing so, maybe they'll do the same for you.
All right. And to those tuning in, I thank you too. Thank you, everyone. Be safe. Hey, everyone. Post-editing chatty here. I just wanted to put it out there on how good people like segfault are, not only as an owner, but as a person. It really is easy to hate on certain things, especially nowadays. To have somebody in this community, but more importantly, somebody big in this community like segfault, to be there and support these people in the LGBTQ community is honestly heartwarming to see. I don't want this to come off like I absolutely adore the guy, but I personally feel like what he does and how he acts is truly overlooked. Whenever you see him in VCs or in the chat box, make sure to shoot him a thank you or something. The guy really is helping out when there aren't a whole lot of people who would. As mentioned before, be safe, everyone.